Her skin at 70 looked better than ours does at 40. No serum, no clinic, no expensive bottle. Just 3 things on the bathroom shelf: a blue tin of Vaseline, a yellow tub of Palmer's cocoa butter, a jar of Royal Crown for the hair, a quarter each. The older black woman in 1955 kept all 3 and knew which one did what and when. One sealed the skin, one fed it, one held the hair through a Sunday service in the July heat. Item number 10 is what she ran along her front teeth before a photograph, and it was not whitening. These are the 20 things she knew. Stay with me. Number 20, the ashy skin fix. By the time most women noticed the gray creeping up their arms, the day was already lost. The older black woman never let it get that far. This one is cocoa butter on damp arms right after the bath, never on dry skin. Her dark hands worked it into the elbows, the forearms, the shins, all the places that turned gray and tight first. The skin drank it in while it was still wet from the water. By the next morning, the ash was gone and the arms looked even again. A bottle of body lotion at the drugstore in 1960 cost $1 and climbing. The tub still cost $0.25. Why it worked? Damp skin holds the butter where dry skin only pushes it off. The water was already in the skin. The cocoa butter simply locked it in before it could escape. Keep that one in mind, because the rule underneath it comes back at number 1, and it is the reason every other thing on this list worked at all. Number 19, the knees and elbows. The skin where the body bends, where it presses on the kitchen table and the scrubbing floor all day, goes dark and thick if it is left alone. Her dark hands knew this was friction, not dirt, and she never scrubbed at it in shame. Cocoa butter on both elbows after every wash, before the skin dried all the way. 2 seconds on each elbow, the same on each knee, a heavier layer overnight if the dark had set in deep. The darkening lifts slow. It lifts all the way. Why it worked. The skin darkens on purpose to shield itself from the constant rubbing. Take away the dryness and the skin no longer needs that shield, so it softens and the color comes back to match the rest. Quick pause, one warm breath. Everything on this list came from our women, the older black mothers and grandmothers who knew, and were almost never thanked. Your own grandmother was one of them. So please subscribe to the channel and leave a like while you are here. It keeps her name alive for the next woman who needs it. Thank you kindly. Now, back to the countdown. Number 18, the scalp between wash days. Once a week, not every single day, the African-American grandmother parted her hair into neat rows and worked a little cocoa butter along each part with her fingertips. Some women used a dab of sweet Georgia brown for the same job, but the cocoa butter was gentler and cost less. She did the scalp on a Sunday night, the night before church. She covered the whole crown, slow and careful, in small circles. A scalp treatment at the Colored Beauty Parlor in 1955 ran $3. The woman who knew this walked into her appointment with a scalp that did not need the treatment she was paying for. She paid for the press, and the talk, and the chair. The scalp she had already handled the night before at her own mirror. Why it worked. A dry scalp flakes and itches and pulls hard at the root. The butter held the moisture against the skin, so the flaking stopped, the itch eased, and the hair sat easier between washes. Number 17, the edges. Before anyone sold a small jar with the word edges on the front, the older black woman laid her baby hair with what she already had on the dresser. A little Royal Crown or Murray's gave a hard hold that lasted through the heat. Cocoa butter and a trace of Vaseline gave a softer hold that fed the hairline at the same time. Warmed between two dark fingers, never straight from the tin. Pressed along the hairline in the direction the hair grew, smoothed down with the edge of a cloth, not dragged. The edges held through the long walk home from church. The amount is everything here. The wrong amount greases the whole front and the look is gone. Why it worked. A thin film coats each fine hair and weighs it just enough to hold, while the warmth from her fingers melts it in instead of letting it sit on top. Number 16, the new scar. When a child came home with a fresh cut healing over, the African-American grandmother did not leave it to fade on its own. This one is cocoa butter. Her dark hands rubbed a little into the mark every night. Slow circles, once it had closed and was no longer open. Not on a fresh wound, on a healed one. Over the weeks, the scar went flat and pale instead of raised and dark. A scar cream at the pharmacy today runs $20 and more. The tub on her shelf cost $0.25. Why it worked? Massage and moisture together keep new scar skin soft while it settles. So it heals smoother and the color evens out instead of locking in dark. And if you think that use is clever, wait until number 10, where the other jar does something with a camera and a smile that almost nobody believes at first. Number 15, the stretch marks. The doctors had no answer for the marks that came with the child, so the women answered it themselves on their own back porches. The older black woman on a porch on the south side of Chicago sat with a tub of cocoa butter in her lap every night of the 9 months. She rubbed it low across the belly and the hips, slow and warm. Her own mother had done the same when she carried. The skin stretched slower and softer. The marks that came were fainter, and the skin around them stayed supple. Stretch marks creams today carry a brand name and a $30 price. The tub did the same work for $0.25. Why it worked. Skin kept soft and oiled stretches with less tearing underneath, so the marks that form are shallower and fade faster after. Number 14, the hands that washed all day. The hands age faster than the face, and on a domestic worker, they aged faster still. They lived in the dishwater, the laundry, and the winter cold, far more than they were ever cared for. The African-American grandmother who cleaned houses on the other side of town knew this better than anyone. This one calls for both jars. Cocoa butter worked into every knuckle and around every nail to feed the skin, a thin seal of Vaseline over the top to hold it, and then a pair of thin cotton gloves. She slept the whole night in them. The gloves held it all pressed against the skin instead of letting it wipe off on the bedsheet. By morning, the hands were soft and worked again. Her daughter noticed those hands. Her daughter is watching this now. Why it worked. The butter fed the skin, and the Vaseline trapped it. The gloves held both against the skin all night, so the tired hands took in far more than any quick rub ever could. Number 13, the face at night. The older black woman did not put cocoa butter on her face in the daylight. It sat too heavy under the sun and showed on her skin. At night was a different thing. The African-American grandmother warmed a small amount of cocoa butter between her fingers. She pressed it onto her cheeks and her forehead and her chin after the skin was washed and still a little damp. Pressed, never pulled. A night cream at the department store counter in 1958 cost $12. The tub at the corner store cost $0.25. The women who knew the difference reached for the quarter every time. Why it worked? At night, the skin does its own repair and quietly loses water. The butter sealed that water in while she slept, so she woke with skin that was full and soft instead of tight and drawn. Number 12, the neck. Every older black woman who knew anything carried her care below the jaw. The neck shows age first, because almost no one treats it the way they treat the face. The African American grandmother brought cocoa butter down her neck every night, always stroking downward from the jaw to the collarbone, never up. The skin there is thin and gives easily. Pushing it up night after night works against it. She knew this in her hands without anyone writing it down. A neck cream today runs $40, and it does not even tell you which way to rub it. Why it worked? The downward stroke moves with the thin skin instead of dragging it the wrong way, and the steady butter keeps it soft so it folds and creases far less over the years. Number 11. The lips and the corners. When the winter wind split her lips and cracked the corners of her mouth, the older Black woman did not reach for anything new off a store shelf. Now the two jars split the work. Vaseline on the lips to seal and protect through the night. A touch of cocoa butter worked into the cracked corners to feed and heal them. Her dark fingers pressed both on before bed, face to the pillow. By morning, the split had closed and the corner had calmed. A lip balm in a tube today cost $5 and runs out in a month. The two jars lasted the whole winter for $1 each. If your mother kept that yellow tub on her nightstand because she knew exactly what it was for, hit the like button. That woman is who this channel is for. Why it worked. The Vaseline held a seal on the lips through the night, while the butter fed the broken corners, so each part of the mouth got what it actually needed. You are halfway, 10 left. Everything so far ran on one simple idea: the right jar, on the right skin at the right time. But the last 10 are where it turns. Item number 5 is the one that emptied half the beauty shelves in America. Almost nobody remembers it now. The older Black woman never had better products than we do. She had better hands, better timing, and a grandmother who took the time to show her. Stay close. The best ones are still coming. Number 10. The teeth before a photograph. Before the church program, before the portrait at the studio, before any day a camera and a flashbulb waited at the front of the room. The older Black woman did one strange thing. This one is pure Vaseline. She ran a thin film of it along her front teeth with one finger right before the lights came up. It has nothing to do with whitening. Lipstick does not stick to a surface coated in Vaseline. It stays on the lips, off the teeth, through the whole program and the photographs that came back 2 weeks later. The women on Auburn Avenue in Atlanta passed this between them in the 2 minutes before a room filled up. Why it worked. The slick coat gave the lipstick nothing to grip on the teeth, so the smile stayed clean no matter how long the evening ran. Number 9. The dry heels. Cracked heels answer to a method, not a miracle, and the older Black woman knew the method by heart. She did it in order. A dry pumice stone first, on dry skin, not wet. Wet makes the stone slide and do less. Small circles, not long scrapes. Then a thick layer of Vaseline over the whole heel to seal it. A cotton sock pulled over that, and sleep. The first night, better. The third night, much better. By the 7th, what felt like it would never heal was simply gone. The order is the cure. Why it worked. The pumice took off the hard dead layer first, so the Vaseline could seal the live skin underneath, and the sock held it against the heel all night long. This heel method is the one most people run to try first, but the one at number 5 is the one that emptied whole shelves, and it is only 4 away now. Number 8. The body glow. Before anyone sold a bottle promising a glow, the African American grandmother had one. A thin coat of cocoa butter on the arms and the shoulders and the collarbone, rubbed in until it was almost gone, left the skin catching the light soft and warm. Her dark shoulders at a summer gathering, glowing without a thing that came in a bottle. Too much and it looked greasy. Almost none was the trick. Why it worked. A barely there film bounced the light evenly off the skin, so it read as a glow, not a shine. The amount was the whole trick. Number 7. The elbows for a day that mattered. For a wedding, for an Easter dress, for any day the arms would show, the older black woman started the night before. A heavy coat of cocoa butter on the elbows under a long sleeve overnight. So by morning the gray was gone and the skin was even from shoulder to wrist. Her grandmother had taught her never to fix it the morning of. The morning was too late. Why it worked? Dark, dry elbows need hours to come back, not minutes. The overnight cover gave the skin the long soak it needed to even out by daylight. Number 6. The pressed hair held soft. On a Saturday night at the kitchen stove, the hot comb had pressed the hair straight. The African-American grandmother kept the very edges and the ends from going hard and dry. Where another woman might reach for a heavy scoop of Dixie peach, she did the opposite. She used the lightest touch of cocoa butter, warmed to almost nothing between the palms, smoothed only over the surface of the hair, never worked in heavy. It kept the press looking soft and alive instead of stiff and brittle. The amount rule is harder in hair than anywhere on this list. The right amount is what is left on your palms after you think you wiped them clean. Why it worked. The faint film smoothed down the raised dry strands and held the press, while too much would have weighed it flat and greasy by morning. Number 5. The whole winter on 2 jars. This is the one I promised you, the one that emptied the beauty shelves. When the cold came and the skin went tight and gray all over, the older black woman did not run out and buy 10 different things. 2 jars did all of it. Cocoa butter fed the elbows, the knees, the face, the scalp. Vaseline sealed the heels, the lips, the hands over the top. Her dark hands reached for the right one all winter long, from the first frost to the spring. 2 jars, a quarter each, the whole season. The drugstore would gladly have sold her a different bottle for every part of her body, $8 and up, every one of them. Why it worked. 1 jar feeds and 1 jar seals. Between the 2 of them, they do what a whole shelf of named products claims to do, because the skin does not read the label. It answers to moisture, to a seal, and to a steady hand. Number 4. The dark spots and even tone. At the vanity mirror every night, the older black woman worked cocoa butter into the dark patches and the old marks. She pressed it into the uneven places on her face and the backs of her hands with a slow massaging finger. The spots did not disappear overnight, and her dark hands never promised they would. Over the seasons, the skin read more even, and the marks faded toward the rest. A dark spot serum today carries a high price and a long chemical name. The tub on the vanity carried neither. Why it worked. Steady moisture and massage helped the skin turn over and settle more evenly over time, so the tone calmed instead of staying patchy. 3 left now, and number 1 is not a product at all. It is the 30-second habit that decided whether every single thing before it worked or failed. Number 3, the cuticles and the nails. Before anyone bottled cuticle oil and set it by the polish, the African-American grandmother had the whole thing in 1 jar. A small dab of cocoa butter rubbed into the skin around each nail every evening, sitting by the radio or the window. A minute for both hands. The cuticles stayed soft and did not crack or split in the dry cold. They did not need cutting, and cutting is what starts the cracking in the first place. Why it worked. Soft, moisturized cuticle skin does not tear or harden, so the whole painful cycle of cracking and cutting never gets started. Number 2, the skin kept up and not fixed. Here is the real mechanism the older Black woman understood underneath all of it. She did not wait for her skin to go bad and then rush to repair the damage. She kept it up a little every single day with whichever jar the skin needed, so it never broke down in the first place. Cocoa butter to feed, Vaseline to seal, morning on the body and night on the face, all year round, not just when the winter cracked her open. Her grandmother had done the very same, and hers before that. It went all the way back to the women on the west coast of Africa who first pressed the fat from the cocoa bean for exactly this. Why it worked. Skin kept soft every single day never reaches the dry, cracked state that needs saving at all. So, quiet prevention did the work that no rushed repair cream ever could. Number 1, the wet skin window. This is not the most surprising thing on the list. It is the one rule that made every other rule on it work, for both jars. The older Black woman knew that cocoa butter or Vaseline laid onto bone-dry skin just rests on top of it. It softens a little and it smooths a little, but it cannot trap water that is already gone, and dry skin has long since lost it to the air. So she put it on while her skin was still wet from the bath, inside the first half minute, not after she had toweled off and dressed and done everything else. It trapped the water that had not yet escaped the skin. That water stayed. The skin stayed soft through the whole day and the whole night. 1 degree of wet, 30 seconds. A small amount, warmed in her dark hands. That was the method, not the brand, and not the price on the jar. The 2 jars are still on the shelf, a couple of dollars each now, more or less. Most women walk right past them. You know what they are for now. The heel method is the one that brings most people back for the rest. Dry pumice first, then Vaseline, then a cotton sock. 7 nights in a row. Try that one first this week. Then come tell me in the comments which one you are starting with. And if there is a Vaseline or cocoa butter trick your own grandmother used that is not anywhere on this list, I want to know what it was. Leave it below. Someone reading needs it. Before you go, do these 3 small things. Tap like so more of our daughters find this. Subscribe so you do not miss the next one. And if you want every one of these written down to keep, the full guides are waiting on our website. The link is right below this video. These are the things our grandmothers knew, and now they are yours. Take care of your skin, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next one.